Welcome everybody to the CTV update for Wednesday, October the 9th. Gentlemen, thank you for being here today. We have a lot on the agenda. It's going to be a long meeting because I had a wonderful interview with Tracy McNairn, our president. But before we get into that, gentlemen, a couple of news items. One, positive. My fantasy football team beat the #1 team in the league. Beat the #1 team in the league. Thank God I have Lamar Jackson. Thank God I have Derrick Henry. I don't know what I'm going to do on their bye week, but hey, had a good week. Wonderful. And that puts me at 3-2. You want to say your Go Bills right now?
Go Bills.
It cost me again this week, those darn Bills. I'm not betting for them this week. I'm taking the Jets. Something a little bit more somber. Most of you know that I broadcast from Florida in the winter, specifically St. Petersburg, Florida. A few of us have places down there, myself, Vic Farr has a place, and then we have several visitors that come down that rent. Jim Kelly, Dave McDonald, last year Jerry Jones came down, but he's going somewhere else this year. We have visitors that are coming from all over. So as of now, Hurricane Milton is, I gather, supposed to hit the coastline around Sarasota, where Martin Jackson has a place, by the way. If there's, I hate because wherever it hits, it's going to be devastating. But for Tampa, the Tampa area, it's better if it hits south of Tampa because of the way it's not just the wind speed, which is important, of course. It's Category 4, Category 5, whatever. And our houses are only rated for Category 3, by the way. But it's the direction of the wind, because the direction of the wind determines where the storm surge is, and storm surge is what destroys most places. And kills most people, which is disturbing to me because I have a lot of friends down there, and some of them are pretty darn stubborn, even though they've been told to evacuate and aren't going to. So I would ask that if you're a religious person like myself, say a prayer for those people. That's what I feel most about. My property is just property. I'm safe here. I'm in Canada. I got another place to go. Those people do not have another place to go. Many of them, that's their principal resident. And if they lose it, I don't know what they're going to do. Many of them are older in our community, and hopefully they aren't too stubborn. If we don't get the storm surge, because the wind would be blowing out of Tampa Bay, a lot of them, that's a positive thing. By the way, insurance companies do not insure mobile homes for storm surge. For hurricanes, yes. If the house blows down, they'll pay for it. But if the water comes in and takes it away, not a chance. So it's the way it goes down there. Anyway, so that's my note. I won't know until tomorrow the fate of my place, but I'm hoping for the best, preparing for the worst, but hoping for the best. And I'm praying for my friends down there who are, I hope, were smart enough to evacuate. This morning I had an opportunity to interview Tracy McNairn, our president, in our annual State of the Union. It's quite a lengthy interview. I did not index it. I have indexed it here so you can go. We've talked a lot about the annual members report. And, well, let's listen to it now. Good morning, everybody. I'm here with Tracy McNairn, our president, and we're here to talk about I like to call them a State of the Union. We're gonna kind of focus on what's happened this year, the report that they just put out, annual members meeting report, and what we're going to be doing looking forward, and we'll go from there. Tracy, welcome. And
thanks, John.
Yeah. So. Let's go at it. Let's talk about what, this past year. It's just been a wonderful year for us, and you could talk about some of the highlights.
Sounds great. Yeah, so very different sort of position since was it last year when I did this, did sort of the recap. We were, so we just going to have a bit of a different discussion, very positive, obviously, for the last season. So we kind of managed to avoid a few of the major weather events that we had last year with ice storms and power outages and everything else. So it's been very, very successful season. So You know, we're finishing in a strong financial position. I think this is the first year, like knock on wood, we've got a few, you know, weeks to go, but it is the very first year that I've actually seen that what we put in our budget is we're actually going to deliver.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's super positive.
And let's back up on that. We're a nonprofit. A friend of mine, you know, because I saw the report, and I think we're on track to actually exceed our revenues over expenses by 6,400. And I'm going, well, you know, in a business, 6,400 wouldn't be good. But the guy said, you can't show a profit for a nonprofit. You've got to be kind of on the nose.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
that's a good thing. I mean, we don't want to show too big a number there. The government might just
well,
take a
then you
dim
end up
view of
paying
that.
taxes on certain things,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yes, there are very strict rules for not-for-profit
So
organizations. So yeah,
I get that.
That's why we're saying it's you know, it's very it's a successful financial year.
Yeah.
Fresh, definitely. We executed on our capital projects that were approved from last annual general meeting, and we had record league and participation in sort of in the leagues and also in our events. Like we had the jazz night was like a sellout. Like we were filled both indoors and outdoors.
Wow.
For that event. So and we've had a couple of weddings that were very successful.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been overall it's been great. Also, you know, some of the sort of, I guess I call them more sexier projects. Obviously, we rewrote and got our new bylaws approved by the deadline, which is, I believe, we had to have them all completed by October the 15th of this year, which we managed to have them approved in May. And it's not, you know, it's some of the back end, but obviously we now comply with the UNCA, the new Not-for-Profit Corporations Act. So
that's great.
Yeah,
So
and also just a little footnote, and you've talked about it a lot with Cam and Tyler. We hosted a very successful 2024 Canada.
yeah, that was a big event. You know, you didn't realize about 156 golfers, you know, descending on this place, and terrific golf, by the way. And the work that our volunteers, our staff, Joel, the kitchen, Tyler, Cam, our captain, everybody that put time into that made that a wonderful event for us this year. So,
and Golf Canada actually commented, all of the executives and everybody else, they said they had never seen an event being held at a club that was solely sort of supported by all the volunteers.
Yeah.
So generally they get they get asked for the clubs to come back and sort of say, can you find us more volunteers? And we didn't have to go outside of our club.
well, it's great. So let's talk about, like last week we were supposed to do this, and Tracy said, you know, I'm not quite ready. I'm still putting the report together. So the report came out later that day, and I said, you know, I don't like reading this on a computer. I think I'll just print it out. Poor lady was putting all this together. This is a big report. There's a lot of pages to it. Now I did go through it. Let's highlight some of the areas you want to talk about today in the report. Obviously, you know, your own summary, but the treasurer's report. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Sure. So, you know, I've already mentioned we're in a good financial position for the club. We received again another unqualified audit report, which means a lot. So this is, I believe, the 4th year in a row that we've received an unqualified audit report, which means that there's no notes to file. There's nothing. They're basically saying that yes, everything that they've reviewed, not everything in our books is basically on sound accounting practices.
Right.
And so it's all very good.
That's important.
Very, very important. And it's our 4th year in a row. We did at one point in time at this club have qualified audit reports, referring to obviously our mortgage and financing and stuff like that. But since, so for the 4th year in a row, we're very, very strong position.
Yeah. Let's talk about the mortgage. I know in the report, I think in December 2022, we made a payment on it, and we actually made another one in 2023. So we're down to about just over $1 million in that. Is that correct?
Correct. So as we sit right now, so we always make the payment on December, and so it's a against the principal. So it's a $40,000 payment. You can see. So yes, our mortgage is now down to $1,080,000.
Yeah.
We'll make another payment on this December, and then another final payment because it's up for renewal in 2025.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I was going to talk about. And so we will be sitting at $1
Well,
million.
let's dive into that. Do you want to have a different, or do you want to
No,
talk?
it's actually, it's one of the, it's kind of my looking forward points for the club.
Okay.
So.
All right. So some of the other, the audit showed that I always get confused. There's a lot of reserves we have here. We have capital reserves
For the
and
first
net
time
operating
ever,
reserves.
we have reserves,
Yeah.
yes.
So we can have reserves as a nonprofit.
Correct.
In fact, we're supposed to have reserves. Is that correct?
Yes,
But they have to
For
be
the
within a certain limit, I would imagine?
correct.
Okay. So we have two types, net,
We have an operating reserve,
operating reserve, okay,
and then we have a capital
and
reserve.
a capital reserve. And the difference between the two?
Well, the capital is basically we're going to invest in our product, our
Right.
golf course, and then also our building. So
Okay.
anything that we spend within the capital. And we never had a capital reserve before. And so over the last little while, and you see it in the strategic plan, we talk about building that capital reserve up to about $250,000. So if anything happens, like on an emergency basis or anything that would happen within this, we would have money in reserve to actually make those expenditures.
Okay.
And then we want to continue to invest in the building and our product. And so we're trying to use the capital dollars to actually build out our master plan, which was developed in 2012. And the last 4 years is the first time we've actually done any work against that master plan that was developed in 2012.
We had to cut down all the trees first, and we had a shortage of money even to do that. But,
Correct. Correct.
I was on that master plan committee, so I remember that.
Yeah, so that's the capital. On the operating, that's just day-to-day maintenance and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so it's always good to have an operating reserve.
Yeah.
Because we saw it last year. We actually bored against that operating reserve. We had it in place because we had ice storms, massive damage on the course. We were late opening. We had a fire. We had to close certain things. So we actually bored against that operating reserve to complete our year.
And that's what it's for,
Right.
basically. Great. So we have these two reserves, and they are within limits. You can't have too big a reserve. I'm sure the auditors would flip out over that, and they want you to have some.
There's rules.
Okay. Part of the, did you want to continue on to this? Because I have some, go ahead.
No, the unqualified, and then obviously we're continuing on the path just with the reserves and stuff like that in our financial position. We're going to be able to, continue our capital spend in 2024, 2025, so for next season. So we've also, some of the other highlights just from the overall package, you can see that we've really put a focus on social media,
Yeah.
marketing, we've had advertisements, and we're seeing the payoffs of that.
Yeah.
So, 6 weddings are booked for next year already, which is excellent. We've got 19, as of today, we have 19 gold members signed up that took the fall promotion.
That's amazing.
It's the biggest we've ever had.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and let's get back to the weddings, because I wondered, well, why do we have a wedding every week? Well, apparently that's not a good thing either.
No.
We have to be kind of careful there. It's very labor intensive, staff intensive,
Yeah.
and weddings don't give us the biggest return for our money. I mean, we want to reduce the expense of running a restaurant here, because there is an expense to run every private club. It costs to run a restaurant. You don't make money at the restaurant, but you have to have it, right?
Yeah, it's a service.
It's a service.
Yes.
So it's like 6 to 8 weddings is probably where we should be.
Yeah, it does disrupt the members, obviously.
yeah.
So if we have to close the back patio and everything else, but yes, at the end of the day, we do actually charge obviously fees, additional costs to hosting a wedding, and it generates a larger profit on our food and beverage.
Yeah.
So it does add to that line.
Yes, it does.
So.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a sweet spot there, and you
Yes.
don't want
Yeah,
to get
no,
too
we-
many,
no,
and
no.
plus it's very. I mean, poor staff, they're flipping out.
Yeah.
They do such a great job.
Yes, they do.
But
Yeah.
it's a lot of work, you know, when you think about it. And you know, we actually probably do better with a big golf tournament like Costco coming in here and renting all the carts and the green fees and everything like that, in terms of money coming back into the club versus expenses.
Yeah, and we do run those, and they're reported on after every event to the board, and the board reviews that, and the treasurer reviews that to make sure. But you're right, there's a balance.
So last year, you had mentioned earlier that we had several projects that we worked on, the pond enhancement. We've upgraded our IT service, a halfway water. Hey, we got water at the halfway house. I got coffee. And hot coffee now. They got a coffee maker out there.
That's right.
Sound attenuation,
Yes.
phase 1.
Yes.
I'm not sure what golf playing items are, but
Those are the boards, the scoreboards, and the
Oh,
new
yes.
backdrop
Okay.
areas
Yeah.
and all those things. Yes.
and there was we never went through with it, a golf cart storage planning, and that's being evaluated at this time whether we're going to go ahead with that. Is that correct? Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So for this year,
Yes.
board approved projects. We're talking about this coming year coming now. Is that what that means?
No, the one that's listed on page 6 in the report basically
Okay.
is telling us, so the overall membership approved a budget of, for us, our capital budget of $156,000.
Right.
Okay, at the top, plus our emergency fund.
Right.
So we had around 190,000 that was approved by when we went forward last year. So because we didn't move forward with all of the projects, so the ones that are below are ones that we took the capital envelope and we spent to actually,
Okay. So this is this year.
yes, so they are moving forward because we had some really excellent feedback on the sound attenuation. So we want to just enhance that and move forward to phase 2 kind of thing. And our bays in the simulator track system, obviously the bays have been, the screens, obviously, there was a lot of work to doing that, so we're going to enhance the bays, bring in a new system, so we can collapse and expand the bays quickly versus having, you know, three golf pros up here building the bays out and then not being able to move them quickly, because a lot of people want this size of a room versus the larger dining room.
Right.
So it offers another sort of to have like realtor meetings and everything upstairs.
Okay.
If they don't want.
So we'll be able to take them down quickly and put them up quickly.
expand and fold them up and everything else.
Great.
So, and then the drainage one.
Oh.
This is, it's, so it came through, so we didn't spend the green side bunkers, but we're still doing that in 2025. So Joel came back and sort of said, look, I really want to fix 9.
Yeah. It's bad.
It is. 9 and 7, it spills all over, it's the water there all the time. And so that's what the board sort of said, yes, I think that's a good investment for the cars.
And some kitchen items, golf ball.
We
being
had some
rotated.
emergency, so
Yeah.
our ball washer, I'm sure Tyler talked about it. It's a great piece of equipment anyways, and it's certainly improved.
Yeah.
All that out there, and our fryer kind of gave up the ghost and all those good things. So, and then our lighting system, we actually sort of stumbled across that because somebody sort of said they never heard the
Yeah,
horn.
that's right. I've been out there and I didn't hear it.
And so we had the maintenance people and folks and testing and everything else, and discovered that we needed to replace our lighting system, which hadn't been looked at or reviewed since it'd been put in.
Right. Well,
So,
and
and
if-
then our motor on number 6. Actually, you won't see that because it's ordered, and you will see that at the opening season.
yeah, I'm sure we will. So that next year would maybe. So you had mentioned that we had 19 more gold members, which is now gives us 268 or something like that.
Yes, yeah.
And our goal is to get 280 by 2025.
Correct.
We could reach that quite easily.
Yes. Yeah, very positive
Yeah.
trajectory. Yeah.
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 You know, it almost begs the question, what is our top limit of membership here? Like, you have to have an upper limit before you can't even go golfing anymore. Like, you don't want to be in a spot where, like some courses are, where you sign up for a tee time at 8:30, you don't get one till 4:30.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tyler and Cameron have obviously an ideal amount, and they can base it on the number of rounds. And so obviously our goal is it, and then we would adjust other as the goal.
Membership categories, yeah.
Membership categories would be sort of like intermediates would be moved down as gold takes over. So yeah.
Well, we've talked about last year's. Did you want to talk about what we're planning for next year, or did you have some, or is that going forward as well?
Yeah, I can talk about next year for sure, because it's just in the budget highlights. And so, and obviously part of the package is obviously, you can see that we've put together a pretty, an excellent budget, and we've really trying to balance our revenues with our expenses. But we want to continue the momentum that's been building, that we've put into the club over the last little while. So obviously that includes obviously the continuation of capital projects, which results in additional like operating funds on the amortization side. Okay, so but also we've done a lot of member services upgrades and new starters at the tee that are improving administration behind the scenes, and so we want to continue that momentum. And I know nobody likes an increase, but we kind of we put in the package just kind of a little chart, just kind of compare, because we kind of we haven't kept up.
No.
And so if we kind of tweak certain things and try to hold the line, it would just result in less services.
Well, this reminds me several years ago when we had 0% increases in the city of Ottawa. We're not going to raise taxes, we're not going to raise taxes, we're not going to raise taxes. These guys kept getting elected. All of a sudden, 2005 comes along, and we've got a huge deficit. And you have to raise it by at least what your costs are, like the CPI is. So you can't just keep going like that. You got to raise it to match what's been increasing. Otherwise, you're going to face a huge increase at 1 year.
Yeah.
And you can't do that.
Yeah. And we kind of included like the CPI and the minimum wage, and you can see what our dues did. In 1 year, we took $100 off.
Yeah.
And when everything else was going up.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in a position where, and then minimum wage went up again. It's like $17 and 40 cents. And
I know it doesn't seem like much, but it's a percentage, and take the percentage of that. And if you don't account for that, at some point you're going to pay a lot more for it,
right.
And that's where you lose a lot of people. People understand that, may or may not understand, but everything costs more, and you have to keep up with it. But don't cripple it, you've just moved it a bit to match what's going on.
Yeah, so I just wanted to highlight that to make sure, we understood, but we did take a lot of time.
Well, that's a reasonable approach.
To go through the budget and our expenditures and stuff like that. So for 2025 on the capital, we're pretty excited of what we're planning. So this went through our regular process. So members kind of write in and kind of suggest certain things. It goes to all of the committees. The committees put through their, they send back to the overall long-range planning committee, their priorities. Then we have to balance how much money we actually have available within our capital fund. And so these are kind of the ones that came up to the top. Right. So we're rolling over the Greenside bunkers. So again, we're trying to get to all of the bunkers before the first ones we did on hole number 1 need to be done again. So anyway, so very positive on 5, 6, 9, and 10. We're going to do next year. It also helps Joel getting the contractor. So they're coming for more than 2 bunkers. They're coming for 4 bunkers. Yeah. And then a bunch of drainage stuff and stuff like that. And they're also going to spend some time. We had some feedback on the black tees. So we're going to try to improve I think there's 2 black tees that this will all be sort of at the annual that we're going to redo their boxes for them. So that was one of the suggestions that came through.
Some of the black tees don't have any boxes.
Correct. Again, we're working on our drainage. This is, you know, from Joel. We just need we need to replace and repair some of the sump
Yeah.
pumps that are out there. It's just trouble for the golfers. Joel is looking at a fairway aerator. I know we gave him the overseeder a few years ago. Now he's going for the fairway aerator, and this is just going to help improve our fairways.
Yeah. Not that they need a lot of improving,
Well,
but
exactly, but apparently,
but you know,
yes.
Joel knows, so we
Well,
don't
I
question Joel.
I don't know if you've been in the rough, but anyways, yeah.
Oh, the rough
I
is-
keep saying to Joel, you know, I'm going to take away that overseeder.
Oh my God, that rough is awful. I mean, awful.
Exactly. And then the big one is obviously our turf facility. I don't know if anybody, I know it's kind of an afterthought. You don't really
Yeah.
look over to what's behind number 8 and down number 7, but it is on its last legs.
Yeah.
At one point in time, it was condemned in 1996. We brought it back to service. It is leaning over. There's massive gaps underneath. There's, you know, a family of, you know, 10 raccoons that live upstairs. Anyway, so this is major. This is a major project. So
Okay, so this is the design part of it.
we're going to get, yes, engineering and architect
yeah.
in to sort of see what will fit in the space, complying with environmental rules. Obviously, that's going to be, you know, so, and also Rita Valley Conservation Authority. Anyways, so there's all kinds of things that we need to make sure that we're going to be able to build a proper facility out there for them. The other excitement one is window replacements.
Yeah.
So this has been on the capital project list for I can't remember how long.
Yeah.
As you can see, you just have to look at the windows just briefly. So this is like phase 1.
Like it's about time.
Yeah.
Like enough's enough.
And it's going to be downstairs. So it's going to be the downstairs dining room area. So that's the biggest impact for members to see.
Right.
Also, they're going to have windows at the bottom, so you won't be looking through cubes anymore. They'll be straight out looking out to the golf course.
Okay, great.
With a window on the bottom,
Okay.
which will also help with sound. We
Okay.
can open them during windows, like weddings and stuff like that.
And eventually, you know, I mean, windows have to be. It's just part of the owning a building.
Yeah.
You could see
Yeah.
they've cracked. And I know the members that are on the house committee have been trying to keep them from bleeding and stuff. There's this paint that bleeds
They've
down
been
them.
painted numerous times. I don't know how many coats of paint are on the
I know,
windows.
I know, and then they just can't stop it. It just keeps happening. I don't know why.
So I think that'll be a nice
Currently,
improvement.
they're going to be painted black on the bottom as well.
They're going to be black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to.
So it'll be a little bit,
Yeah.
an update,
Yeah,
basically,
it looks
an
gonna
update
look
look.
good.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plumbing, you know, we've had plumbing issues before, and there's going to be waterproofing that we're going to be fixing in the basement and rerouting certain things. And then our reach-in freezer, obviously, that's a big purchase for the kitchen because it's basically sometimes works, sometimes doesn't.
And the golf range cart, thank you. We do need one.
Well, yes.
Hopefully we'll get one, so.
Yes. So, and that's just on there. That's like for a new unit, but they're also searching for, like, obviously used and stuff like that. If we can find one that's reasonable.
Well, I hope so. That's just, again, one of those things. Wow, that's the budget, I guess. Is there anything else you want to talk about the budget?
No, those are all my the big highlights, obviously. And obviously everything will be, you know, there'll be more details and members can ask questions around at the annual members meeting.
So we have a lot of reports here that if you haven't read through it, they're very good reports written by all our managers and our accent, but I do want to focus on one. The government, there's the strategic marketing. The sales and marketing report was also an interesting read. All the things they've been doing, the golf expo, the drone footage, member satisfaction surveys. They've been a busy group.
Yes, they're very good. They did a great job. Great job. And you can see all the amount of increase and activity that we've had on our Facebook and our Instagram and reposts and all that good stuff.
So one of the interesting parts of the report is the long-term planning committee, and I think this is an extremely important committee because you really have to think ahead in this business. You cannot be reacting. And on the first line, the first goal, increase the membership to 280 in 5 years due to the new member. Now, this was written in 2024, so I guess we're well ahead of that target right now. We had, as
It
of
was
September
written in 2020.
2020.
Yes.
Ah, okay. So that was September 20. Okay, it says
Yes.
2024
This is
results.
as
I
of-
gotcha.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So that's why it's a 5-year plan.
5-year plan.
And
So by next year we should have, hopefully we'll have 280 members. But you're looking long term. You read that box there, and I think that's a key box that we have to focus in on. It says the golf industry believes that the golf will continue to be popular for the next short term, 2 to 3 years. However, there's a possibility that the numbers will decrease as we begin to compete with other sports again. So to compensate for a possible drop of emphasis has been put on the retention plan to focus on member experience and social media marketing to sell new memberships. That says a lot right there. That's looking forward and looking ahead. So we're going to focus on retaining what we have.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And the overall experience like, and I think you said it in last week's, but it's also the word of mouth of the club. Nothing sells this member. So if you have a happy member, then obviously the member is going to be our biggest promoter out there.
So, I mean, this report is excellent. They're all good. They're all excellent. But this one is also one that you may want to focus in on as well, because there's just so many things that we're looking at. Is there anything else you want to comment in here?
The only thing is the fact that it is expiring in 2025. So obviously, that's one of my kind of looking ahead. We do need a new strategic long-term plan.
Okay.
That developed over the next 12 to 15 months with obviously significant input from all the members.
You're the chair of this committee.
I was this year.
What do you think?
But that one was put together by Grace Thrasher, Rona Hamilton. They had a group of us all here, and we did focus groups and everything else. It was really well done. So
Okay, so we're going to start the whole cycle
you
over
need
again.
to, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
now we want to talk about, we've talked about the report basically and what's in it. Where are we looking forward for next year? What are our, we talked about some things, but let's talk about some.
Yeah, so I mentioned the new strategic long-range plan for sure. We need to obviously, we've got some major capital projects, and I've already touched on the turf facility. So this is going to be a big expense for this club, and so that's why we're going to try to approach it the right way, get architects in here and everything else to actually design something that is going to alleviate the fact that the big trucks that come in that deliver all the earth can't turn around in that area. They're limited in their space. So sometimes you'll see that Joel will dump sand or any of his things that he needs. He'll have the big trucks, when they have come a big load, he dumps out here by the river, which is not allowed, for one. But then he removes it quickly from there, so he doesn't have the ability for the truck to get in. So it's going to look at all those sort of possibilities. Also, the environmental. Obviously, we're cleaning machines down there, and everything else. So that's what we're approaching. So, but it is a big expense on the horizon that all the members should be aware of.
Okay.
Okay. We've got the one that's in the 2024-2025 budget is obviously we have a brand new lease on for our carts in 2025. So that's in the operating budget.
Okay.
So brand new ones, I believe they're going to be coming in. They're going to be like a nice gray with black tops, and it won't show the dirt as much. So Tyler's very happy. So those will be ready for use on day one when we open next year.
Okay.
We've got our turf maintenance machines. That lease is all coming up in 2025. So something also to keep an eye on. And then the big one also is our mortgage renewal.
Okay.
So that's at the end of 2025. So we'll obviously start that process. Gathering information from the current people that hold our mortgage, the group that holds our mortgage now, and having some discussions with that, and then getting ahead of that before it expires December 31st. So it'll be fun. And also, just for next year, we have we didn't touch on. We have a great slate of nominations of potential new board members that are coming in. A couple of returning members, and also some really new members that have stepped up.
That's great. I did notice that we had a lot of members stepping up, which is really, you know, I'm going to thank you for in a second here, but when you take on a job, especially your job, the president, you're taking on all the worries and problems and issues, and you know, some people can compartmentalize it, others can't. Like, it's hard. You worry about it. I wouldn't be able to. I'd be worried sick about certain things. You know, how are we going to deal with this? But I'm not even getting paid for this, and I'm taking it on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's to step up and do it is really a wonderful thing. I always felt, though, that you gained something back from the experience. It enriched me as an experience. Every committee I served on enriched me. And certainly when you're taking on one of these roles, I think you'll learn a lot and you get something back from it. And before I, is there anything else you have? Okay.
I just have a big thank you to the managers and staff and volunteers, all the boards and committees that I worked with. It's been a pleasure.
So we just want to remind people the annual members meeting, and I used to be called the AGM, but it's now the annual members meeting, October 24th at 7 p.m. Will be held in person at Carleton Golf and Yacht Club and online. So a Zoom link to follow.
So very new this year. So obviously this is in accordance with our new Ontario Not-for-Profit Corporations Act. You are required to have the ability to have an online meeting, and also in person, and obviously been renamed to, which actually makes sense when you think it is for the members. This is your meeting, our reporting back of all the boards and committees and everything else to the members. So yes, so we will have it, we'll have Zoom link. We're working out all the details. Cameron and Tyler and I will work out the details for that. So stay tuned for the links if you can't make the meeting in person. Also new this year is proxies. So we've never had the ability to have proxies in our bylaws. And so now if you cannot make the meeting, you can obviously come to the thing, sign your voting share
To someone.
That is a current member, initiated member.
Right. Well, that's interesting too. So many new things that are happening. Tracy, before I let you go, I just want to say, on behalf of us at the club, we want to thank you so much for your 2 years. So you are going to go on to be past president, and so you'll still be, I gather, part of the board.
No, that changed in our bylaws.
Oh, that's another change.
It was changed a few years ago.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. The past president is just, the only thing the past president does is run the nominating
Committee. Okay.
Yes.
So you're not actually part of the meetings anymore then?
No.
Okay. But don't smile so hard. Anyway, I want to thank you on behalf of all the members for your time and your presence. As I said before, when you take on a job like this, you're taking on all the issues of the club, the staffing issues, the issues that happen on the course, everything like that. And for me, that would cause a lot of sleepless nights. I don't know how you handle it, but it would
Same.
be. Yeah. So I thank you for doing that for us, stepping forward. I think your 2 years has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, we've just been in a great position, both financially and conditions at the club and members are everything is going so well at the club here. So we want to thank you for your time and your energy, and we look forward to seeing you as past president anyway, even though you're on the nominating committee. we'll look forward to your talking to you and seeing you in the future. Thank you, Tracy.
Okay, thank you.
Great job. So as you can see from the interview, we talked a lot of things, including capital projects, which I'm sure people are most interested in, but I would urge you to read all the reports. I know there's a lot in this, but it's a really good read. I made the mistake of printing it out, thinking it's going to be a few pages long. It's about 50 pages long, I guess, but I got through it. Strategic report, I think is very important that you read that, because that tells you the direction we're going. And of course, if you can understand the treasurer's report. One thing I didn't understand, and I mentioned it in the video with Tracy, you know, when you see we have revenues over expenses of $6,400, you know, shouldn't we have more? And the answer is no, we shouldn't. We're a nonprofit. We cannot show a profit. We got to show kind of basically even. Otherwise, the government gets a little bit upset and starts charging us taxes. So we did very, very well. We can be a little less, you can be a little more, but you can't be way over on either side. So we've done very, very well there. Our reserves are healthy. Capital reserves are healthy. The operating reserves are healthy. Membership is healthy. And we're now going to I'm going to turn it over to you so you can talk more about some of the capital projects we're doing next year, and you can talk about more in depth of what they mean.
Great, thank you, John. It has been an ongoing, exciting time to take care of a few upgrades in the recent months, and then obviously we have the plan that's set in the package for projects to be voted on at the annual meeting. So in the past few recent months, just to highlight a few, we replaced some of our horns on the golf course. So that was a very important safety measure. That would fall into an emergency category. By no means is this emergency that Florida's going through, but a couple of our categorizations of capital would be emergency. Another one would be our grease trap in the kitchen. We're in the process of replacing that in this month of October, and a motor for one of our fountains on 6 as well. And then there's also a few exciting projects that we reviewed our remaining spend in the current fiscal year, and we're replacing our simulator bays, which Tyler can perhaps, if he'd like to jump in. And
yeah, thanks, Cameron. Yeah, it was pretty exciting news. So after 2.5, 3 great seasons and successful seasons of our Winter Golf Academy, we are able to reinvest a little bit of our unused capital funds from 2024 into some new simulator bays. And these will be a nice upgrade. Certainly the bays we had were great, and we're done very well with the volunteers, and we're very appreciative of all that work. These new bays will allow a little bit more functionality. They'll be very easy to pop up, take down. So if we ever need to use that room upstairs for a function, well, now we're not spending 2-3 days taking things down and putting things up. It'll be done much quicker. Things will be on a tracking system instead of hardwire bars. And new screens. Our screens certainly had a lot of fatigue as well. They were starting to show their age after 2.5 seasons. So brand new screens as well going up in the simulators. My staff's pretty darn excited for it.
I can imagine,
Yeah.
especially the fact that we can take them down so quickly, have other functions, meetings, things up there that we want to have, and then you can put them right back up.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, imagine you're doing a golf clinic up there, and instead of having to do them in separate bays, you open everything up and you can have your clinic all in one big space now. And we're going to be able to do a lot more options up there, having more putting options as well with the extra space. So we're brainstorming with all the great ideas we have. We actually had a meeting earlier today with my staff for our winter programming.
God forbid, if my place isn't livable in Florida, I might be up here doing this stuff. But that's my last option. I want to be down playing real golf down there.
yeah, well, we hope we don't see you all winter, John. Love seeing you on the video from down south, but it's really neat up there. It's fantastic to see even the testing of the screens. You can see them going in. We've got one there, and start to get a perspective of the upgrade of that room. The functionality is going to be amazing, and I think the members will be appreciative of the new look up there. 2 other quick items we're working on this month is some additional work with the sound attenuation baffles in the dining room. So we had a delivery actually arrive this morning, and they are slated for install this month. Hopefully we can get that in before the annual meeting. And then lastly, Joel is going to proceed with some of the drainage work on number 9.
Oh, wow, that's great. Yeah, that's super.
It's certainly one of our challenging areas, right? The right and left side of 9 and the back of the driving range there leading into 9, so that some of the drainage work there will go a long way to improving, especially the rough sections.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's terrible.
Which we had to seed and deal with a little bit more this year than typical years. And then going forward, we have a slate of projects that will be voted on October 24th at the meeting, which includes greenside bunkers 5, 6, 9, and 10. I'm really excited for the par 3s. 6 and 10, in the plan, the bunkers get shifted slightly.
Oh, okay.
So right now, they're very parallel to the green, and from certain tee decks, it's a very similar shot on 6 and 10. Narrow green, obviously, but once with the master plan, once the bunkers shift, it'll really create some variety in different wind directions. You might want to hit a slightly different shot into the green, which will provide some really nice variety.
Okay. So are they still going to be like pot bunkers on number 10? Or are they going to shift those to shift pot bunkers, or are they going to be like one long bunker on each side?
Well, they'll be a little bit longer than a pot design, but they're going to shift, so the opening of the green will be a little bit different on the 2 holes, and it's all, of course, visible in the master plan, which will be great. And then just briefly, some sump repair and replacement of the drainage sumps on the course, a new fairway aerator, and some initial design work for a new turf facility building. So we're planning a few years in advance. We've got some funds aside for a design, not the permitting, but just a design of a new turf facility. In the house, in the clubhouse side, proposed new windows in the dining room, brighten up that room, which will be tremendous. We have some plumbing work to do in the basement, just take care of some of our infrastructure and some waterproofing work. A new reach-in main freezer in the kitchen, so that will help some of the items that are stored right beside the kitchen line. And we also have a new range cart picker.
That gets me pretty excited, actually. It's the
Well,
small things.
It's such an important part of the club. People don't realize until you don't have any balls to hit on the practice range. Hey, what's going on here? And the cart's broken again. The guys have to go up by hand. Like, that's not right. No. You need something that's more reliable than that. So that's quite an extensive thing. And now you've got 2 perspectives. Tracy talked about this. This is a more in-depth perspective. So when you're voting at the annual members meeting, you know basically more what you're voting on.
And we'll have a full slideshow presentation once again this year. So the managers and the board will be up. Included in that presentation will be some further explanations on each capital project.
Right. That's great. That's super. Tyler, I walked into the pro shop today, and I looked. The first thing you have, which you see, is that 50-50 board. Every single square is sold out.
You're right. We sold out.
$4,000, of which the winner gets $2,000. Do we have a date for the draw? Because I have a suggestion.
You have a suggestion? Really? You have a suggestion? Okay, let's hear the suggestion.
I think that next week's update, we do the draw right on the update so everybody can see it. Because if I pick my own name, I don't want to be accused of actually whoever is going to pick. I don't want to be accused of being, cheating, although I'm going to try.
So we have 200 names, we sold 200 squares, $20 a square. We're super excited. Next week is great. We do want to have a live broadcast of the draw. We want to show everyone all the names going into the barrel, and certainly going to be picking out that lucky person to win that $2,000. We can't wait.
Yeah. Lori Ridgway, if you win it again, I don't know what. I mean,
Well, you're the one that pulled her. So
I know.
she'll owe you another big bottle of wine or something.
A reminder about the back shop tips, please.
Thanks, John. And thank you again. We've had a lot of people come into the pro shop already and write some chits for gratuities for the back shop. That's been going so well. So thank you. If you haven't had a chance to drop by yet, please, there's still lots of time. We're running it right till the end of October. So please, our young boys and girls in the back shop work really, really hard. and they appreciate anything that you can maybe give to them. So any amount is great. So thank you.
So this week we had our first frost delay, and I just want well, Tyler, when you see, of course, so I saw the frost on my neighbor's roof, so I knew automatically we had. But what should we do when we see the frost delay?
Sure. So thanks, John. So yeah, this past Sunday was our first heavy frost delay, or first frost delay of the season. It does always. It's a bit of a shock, right? So we got to get it back into that frost delay mentality. So first thing we always ask is you can log into the online camera to view the roof of the pavilion, and the easiest way to know is if that roof is white, well, there's frost out there. Secondly, we are updating the message of the day every day by 1 hour before the tea time with what the status of the frost delay may be. Joel and myself were in constant communication from 6 a.m. till about 7:30 a.m. every morning to kind of get a feel of what it's going to be. We don't know that there'll be frost until the sun comes up, until there's daylight. We cannot tell if there's going to be frost because the frost doesn't form right away. It forms as the sun's coming up, and then we'll be able to see, well, how heavy is it? What's the temperature? What's the forecast for the day? So there's a lot of elements going in here. We do our best prediction on when it's going to be fully lifted. It's not a perfect science, but the golf shop is committed to sending out notifications and emails as the morning goes on. So just, if you have a tea time, feel free to call us. You can call the pro shop. We are sending emails out. We are updating the message of the day. And yeah, we do appreciate your patience. It's not a perfect science, but
Okay,
we have a
so
lot.
one thing I noticed after a frost delay, those greens run at about 20 on the stimp meter. Like they just, like it's like rolling off this tabletop. I could not get anything close. I would tap the ball, it would just go way by. Why is that?
Well, the growth is significantly slowed, right? Slowed at night. They're not growing at all, right? You see it at home in your lawn, right? Don't need to cut as often. So Joel is still doing a phenomenal job maintaining the course and gives an opportunity to get them running a little faster this time of year. And they are amazing still because we're not on there too early, right? If you do walk on with your feet even, it's not just the equipment. But it will actually shatter some of the molecules of chlorophyll in the leaf blade, right? And they shatter, and then it bruises. It turns black, really, right? So that is why the greens are amazing. We have that little delay, and they're still cut, and the course is prepared, and fun time of year to play.
Oh my God, like we're on 17, one of our members was above the pin. He could have blown on that ball and it was going to go 10 feet by. It didn't matter. It was just going down that hill. It was just crazy. Okay, so, hey, you're cleaning out the pro shop pretty good. You're getting it ready. What do we got for the pro shop this week? What's going on?
I'll tell you what we don't got. All our demos are gone. we gave all the members lots of heads up.
I got one!
You got one. You're one of the lucky ones. You got a new three-way. That's amazing. All our demos have been sent back. We're still in the process of shipping our shoes back. All our FootJoys have been shipped back. Our Adidas are about to be shipped back. So we are clearing out of our spring and summer stock. However, as you notice what I'm wearing, it is time to start layering up. So we do have a lot of layering pieces, whether it's base layers or light jackets, heavy jackets, vests, mitts, gloves, toques. We have everything in there for this season, for this cooler weather, right? So come see us. We'd love to get you suited up so that you can still go out and play golf and not be too cold out there.
Well, you know, I came here this morning, I look out, and it's freezing up there, and I'm susceptible to cold. I can't stand it. I look out, 2 people wearing shorts. And I'm going like, what? I can't believe it. Like, I'd be hypothermic by that point. But the members of Carleton, they are a hardy group, I can tell you. They are.
I could probably name who they were too.
Oh,
I know.
God. Oh, my.
Hopefully they're wearing it too.
Well, I was layered up yesterday. One of my playing partners, shorts and shirt. It was nice and sunny, but anyway. Kitchen. What's going on with kitchen these days?
Yes, we ran a little report over the past couple weeks on our spend, and unbelievable, hundreds of members have well eclipsed and supported the club and have easily reached their minimum. So a huge thank you. They've been at our halfway house, beverage cart, attending events. So that's been unbelievable to see. We do have a small little group that is still required to spend their minimum, which is by the end of October, so the 31st. And we did send out an e-blast this morning, and it would be great opportunity to arrange for some take-home food or beverage. We can send you home with some bottles of wine. And then we have a few groups, which is great to see, booking some custom family or business events at the club. So we can do a unique event, book a reservation, a few great options to spend your minimum, and everything can, of course, go through Chelsea. Email is a great way to get in contact with her. She'll be able to see that throughout the day and make arrangements for you.
Thank you very much. That's great. So it's time to talk about our winter golf season again. So
To build on what we already announced earlier with the new simulator bays, we are in the planning process still, but we do have some great news. We're nailing down our winter golf league, so we're continuing with that. I think this year, what we're going to do is we're actually going to poll the members. We're going to show. Well, the thing is, we have over 300 golf courses you can play from, right? And last couple of years, it was myself and my staff picking the courses. Let's get a little bit of member feedback, because you know what? It seems like whatever course we pick, it's either too short, too long, too hilly, too whatever. So we're going to leave it to the members to pick the courses this year. So we're going to send out a list to the members. Pick the courses you want to see during the Winter Golf League. So that'll be a lot of fun. We're scheduling our men's clinics, our women's clinics. We're introducing junior clinics this year as well. So Nolan and Fergus are super excited to be involved with that. We have our demo days that are going to start in the new year. So in January, February, March, we're going to have all our demo days set out. And we're looking to get this launched and going really kind of mid-November. Our slogan is, the day you can't play golf outside anymore is the day you're moving inside for winter golf.
Right.
So we are so excited.
Right. So, and it's important too. Well, we'll talk a bit more about next year's, in terms of juniors and things of that nature, because those categories, they're fixed categories. There's a limit as to how many we can take. And it's important that if they're in there this year, that you make sure that they're in there next year, and make sure you get your you see this guy and re-up them right away. Otherwise, you might be out of luck. We can't do anything once our limit is reached, and we can take a waiting list, but that's about it. We'll talk a bit about that next week and the week after about next year. So we have an exciting event, the annual Yacht Race. Why don't we talk about that?
Sure thing, yeah. The men's Yacht Race, which is a two-man net better ball event, that's taking place on Saturday, October 19th. Sign up is going well, so if you are interested, it's not too late to sign up. You sign up as an individual, and then you are paired with your partner on the morning of, so you may not know who that partner is going to be. It's a 10 a.m. shotgun. There's going to be breakfast available ahead of time, which is great. Breakfast by Chit. Teams are formed by around 9:30, and then 10 a.m. shotgun start. This is an event where people actually bring their leaf blowers with them. It's kind of fun. You never know what the weather's going to be like, so you're going to see all sorts out there. But it's great. It's a lot of fun, this event.
Yeah, speaking of leaves, there's a lot of them on the course, so be careful. The guys are doing a great job of chopping them up, but take careful. If you hit it in the rough and in one of those leaves, make sure you got some accurate set of eyes watching where it goes. You won't find your ball. So it's one of those times.
Now, you know the leaf rule. You can always play the leaf rule.
Yeah, my friend tried to play the leaf rule when it went into a pond, saying, yes, there's leaves under there. I said, no, I don't think so. But we argued about that for a while. Superintendents Revenge.
Right, and this is the capping off of the season, right? So it's our last semi-formal event that we do. It's taking place on the 26th of October. We're putting it on a Saturday this year instead of the last day of October because we want to get more participants playing, right?
Yeah.
In the past, it's always been on the 31st. Well, that could fall on a weekday and people are at work or at school. So we've moved it to the 26th. It's a Saturday. It's just going to be sign up on the first tee. We're going to have some diabolical pins out there. Joel's already been planning these pins for ages. We've already had a taste of them a few times, but we're pretty excited. excited. So come out. It's open to anyone. We're just going to do sign up on the first tee. Let us know you're interested in playing. You just book your regular tee times as you normally would.
You know, I've never seen Joel so happy. I saw him yesterday, big smile on his face. I wasn't sure because they were pumping out the lines or whether he's still thinking about these pin placements, because he was real happy yesterday. That doesn't bode well for us. Gentlemen, that's a lot for today. I know it's a long video, but it's very important you listen to Tracy's interview. I mean, it's where our club has been this year, where it's going next year, what our financial situation's like, and then we've done a good follow-up on that. So until next week, everybody, I have to say a prayer for me, but for my friends down there more than everything. Till next week, play well.